He's hot! Blowing the pins in 5!
Halo Combat Evolved Anniversary, Halo 2 Anniversary, Halo 3, Halo 4. There's a lot of Halo in the Master Chief Collection. The 4 full campaigns, all playable on multiple difficulty levels with varying difficulty modifiers, solo and co-op, with the remastered Anniversary visuals and with the original artwork. So I've been playing a lot of Halo. I haven't, however, been playing much competitive multiplayer or messing around in Forge, because the digital version of the game I've been playing only had these bits patched in very recently. At this point, I can't very well review the game in its entirety, but with the embargo lifting at midnight on Friday morning before the game's November 11th release, I can give you this review in progress about the 4 campaigns in the Master Chief Collection ahead of the full review, which will land sometime next week.
He caught us completely by surprise when his forces arrived in orbit and on the ground.
So what is there to say about Master Chief's 4 adventures? Between them, they span 11 years of Halo-dom, and to jump between campaigns is to do a kind of developer-assisted time travel. You're not changing controllers or swapping discs, and all the missions are unlocked from the get-go, so you're free to mix and match easily from the clear, intuitive menus, or use one of the preset playlists that does the mixing and matching for you. It's a novel feeling to have so much Halo laid out before you, and the crisp organization of it all serves as a great template for other series that might dare to assemble collections of their own. And yet, for all the logistical smoothness, there's a certain shock in transitioning between the campaigns. It's not just the visual differences, though those are striking even with the 2 remastered Anniversary editions. It's the movement speed, the weapon handling, the cadence of combat, the flow of level design, the dramatic pacing. All of these elements vary significantly between the 4 campaigns. Getting recalibrated is a strange, sometimes bumpy sensation, even if you've played all these games before.
Immediate. Grid Kilo 2-3 is high. Recommend mission abort. Roger, Recon.
Let's start with Halo Combat Evolved Anniversary. I reviewed this game 3 years ago for GameSpot and rated it an 8. And you know what? It's still great. The story of what happened when humanity found a Halo is still an intriguing one, and even though you can feel Master Chief's age in his measured movement speed, the combat systems have an internal consistency that make them great fun to play around with once you've gotten your touch back. Unlike in the Xbox 360 release, switching between original and Anniversary visuals is now instantaneous. And though the updated environments are much more lush and appealing than the old ones, it's really cool to see how well a lot of the architectural design holds its sense of alienness and foreboding all these years later.
There it is!
Perhaps the most notable entry in the Master Chief Collection is Halo 2 Anniversary, as it's the first appearance of this legendary yet somewhat contentious sequel in its remastered form. The immediate standout is the new cutscenes, done by the Halo 4 cutscene folks at Blur Studios, who are just phenomenal. The new videos look gorgeous, and though they cover the same dialogue, they do so with a flair for cinematography that the originals lacked. They even made the confusing visual debacle of the Gravemind look sinister and powerful and toothy and gross. Ugh, it's so good. The Anniversary visuals themselves look pretty great too, especially in the Earthbound levels where the original visual design was a bit more pedestrian. Switching between the two instantly is a delight, though sticking with the Anniversary look often rewards you with environmental details that simply weren't there before. However, you'll also have to contend with more extremes of light and dark. The blinding barrage of enemy artillery can completely white out your screen, while the dark corners of buildings might make you reach for your remote to up your TV's brightness or switch to the original visuals in hopes of understanding where exactly you are. There are a few oddities in the remastered audio as well. Miranda Keyes sounds like she just took a rip off a helium balloon.
Yes, sir.
Though, honestly, that's probably my memories of Halo 3 Keyes interfering, because she actually sounds similarly tinny in the original Halo 2 cutscenes. A few of the updated weapon sounds made me yearn for the originals, but remastered visuals are always paired with remastered sound, so there's no splitting the difference. The brasher new SMG sounds and the less echoey sniper shot disappointed me personally, but the new orchestration is so good that I usually just stuck with the remastered presentation. Halo 2's campaign had its ups and downs, and the ups are still ups, and the downs are still downs. The real impact it had on the franchise was its stellar online multiplayer mode, but as I mentioned before, I haven't had enough time with it to rightly say how it turned out. Halo 3 is still pretty fantastic, though you'll likely wish Blur had taken a whack at it when you see the original cutscenes. Regardless of the lack of remastering, the game still looks pretty solid, given that it came out 7 years ago. God, I'm old. But the real joy of playing Halo 3 is the feeling that this is the Halo when Bungie really nailed what Halo was all about. Not just designing levels that flow between diverse areas in a pleasing cadence, not just making vehicles available on levels that are playable on foot as well, and not just giving you a powerful yet simple array of combat tools. What Halo 3 does really well is frequently create situations where you have significant choice about how to approach a combat scenario. This flexibility, which was present to a lesser degree in the previous games, allows playing solo, playing co-op, playing on a harder difficulty, playing with skull modifiers on, to all feel like different endeavors. You're not just using your solo normal difficulty strategies and executing them better. Instead, you're attempting daring stunts when you're feeling confident, and you're experimenting with different approaches when you're feeling overwhelmed. Halo 3 cultivates these moments, and as a result, it feels like a challenge, and it feels like a playground, which are some of the best feelings that video games can create. Playing Halo 4, in the context of the first Halo trilogy, is to reinforce how much it feels like a new chapter for the series. It's a kind of shifting of gears, literally because Master Chief can now sprint, and narratively because there are new characters introduced and new lore delved into, with dialogue, character development, and cinematography that is the best the series had seen so far. It is distinctly of this era of gaming, and requires the least recalibration for folks who have been keeping relatively current with their shooters. The modernization of Master Chief's combat mechanics doesn't sweep away the traditional series' strengths, which are still prominent here, but rather it updates them and makes him feel like a proper super soldier. Only he's not the only super soldier around anymore, and hearing people treat him with something less than utter reverence signals the start of a new trilogy as much as any gameplay update or new enemy type. This new trilogy, progressing next year with the planned release of Halo 5 Guardians, also appears in other places in the Master Chief Collection. Entirely new cutscenes for Halo 2 and a number of new terminals to be found cover events that will presumably become relevant in a future release, voiced as they are by Agent Locke, the new protagonist for Halo 5. These help contribute to the cohesiveness of the collection as a whole and engender the sense that this nostalgic package is also forward-looking. So it's so far so good for the Master Chief Collection. In the coming days, I'll be delving into the online multiplayer modes that cover all 4 games worth of maps, weapons, and game types, as well as the creative capabilities of 3 games worth of Forge. There's still a lot to cover, so look for the full review of Halo: The Master Chief Collection on GameSpot next week.